It's the King's English.
Oh, the Kinglish.
Yes, the Kinglish.
Well, we had a queen at the time, so it was the Quinglish. Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, a show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about The Thin Blue Line. The Thin Blue Line went 14 episodes over 2 series on BBC One. Today we're talking about episode 1, which was called The Queen's Birthday Present, originally airing November 13th, 1995. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me as always, the boys, all the boys, Joe, Ferg, Nick, and Gordo. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hello.
There's more to life than being a copper. That's not funny. I just want to get that one opinion piece out before we start the episode.
Well, it was a quote, so it fits your overall shtick. So The Thin Blue Line, first and foremost, Gordo, your pick. Why?
Much like every single time I pick a show, I just search sitcom and then just go that one.
I mean, you are, which I assumed was the reason, a big fan of Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, I saw that Rowan
So
Atkinson did it.
But I guess not.
Wait, why would you assume that?
Gordo seems like somebody who loves Mr. Bean.
I'm not sure he's ever seen Mr. Bean. Have you ever seen Mr. Bean?
Yeah, oh yeah, I have seen Mr. Bean plenty of times.
He's also the one who picked Blackadder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Thin Blue Line is a police show that was in the mid-90s. It is a Rowan Atkinson, again, Mr. Bean starring show. From our side, I feel like it's I don't know if it's we're just more programmed but I can't not see Mr. Bean when he does things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think because other things we've seen him in Rat Race, right? Where he was essentially just Mr. Bean, but they didn't say it.
Is a race. I hope I win. I think about that line all the fucking time.
He wasn't Mr. Bean, he was Mr. Legume.
All right. Thank you, Gordo.
The thing is
This
how
is gonna
much
be a
you
long night.
find your jokes funny.
That
How
was
you
a
will,
good one.
It's
That
one thing
was
to
a
laugh at
good
your own
one.
jokes, but you'll go into a laughing fit telling a
Because
bad
that
joke.
was good. That was funny.
Right. It's not your job to tell someone what's funny.
Yeah, how everyone's laughing right now is how you know it's a good joke.
You didn't even make me laugh, and I'm the easiest person to make laugh in this group.
Outside of us doing this now, I already know none of you have watched it before, but did any of you guys even know the show existed?
No.
I didn't know this one. I will say this too. I would say that I'm a fairly big Anglophile, right? I have tons of British music and movie knowledge in my brain from just growing up and continue it to this day. And even this show, I was oh, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't pick up on or references I didn't know. Some obviously I was oh, I know what that means, but this seems very specific to just it doesn't seem like this would translate as well as something like a Red Dwarf or a Blackadder or Mr. Bean to a mass audience outside of the UK.
There was definitely a lot of regional things that were very specific to the area, for sure.
A lot of TV presenters who were never famous anywhere else but the UK, right? So you have to look up and who was that reference for? Which I'm sure landed huge there, but for a bunch of Americans 25 years later, it's definitely a little bit wait, I don't know that.
This had an "Are You Being Served" feel, that kind of comedy, the kind of British comedy you think of when you're young and your grandparents watch a show like that.
Yeah.
I definitely got a vibe from the show that it felt not old in general, but it did feel like a old, even though it was in the 90s and we are now talking about a show that was 30 years ago, but it felt older than that. It didn't feel like where comedy was.
See,
in the
that's funny
mid-90s.
because I had the exact opposite feeling. I thought for the time it seemed newer.
No, it felt really old to me.
Yeah, no, I feel like they could produce that show today. Not much
Yeah.
would be different about it either.
And I guess this is where I struggle sometimes because, listen, it is what it is. Not that things from here aren't funny there and vice versa, but there is a general different kind of comedy that will come from England versus the US at times. And I don't really know where theirs evolved and at what points. I know I can only compare it to where we were, at certain points. So whether or not you find this funny now or then, it's just like it doesn't equate to me timeline wise. It seems off, but it might not have been compared to what else was going on over there.
You know what I felt like watching this show? You ever see the episode of King of the Hill when Peggy and Bobby are watching a British comedy, and just saying like how it's more sophisticated, and then like it's just the guy walks out in a dress, and Bobby's just like, that guy's in a dress. Just like none of the jokes really hit for me on this show.
I had a couple of genuine lulls. One thing I will say too that I love about this is Satan bless the English. They will never let the Germans off the hook. It's 1999. Everybody's like, and fuck the Germans. Like, I love so much that they will never not die on that hill. That's amazing.
I mean, to be fair.
Oh yeah, they were completely in the right. Like, you get blitzkrieged by a country, like you're gonna hold that against them for fucking ever. But I just love that they'll never let that joke is always gonna be evergreen.
So a couple things I want to go over real quick. IMDb 7.5 for this series overall. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't even know it exists, which I think is kind of crazy for a show that ran 2 seasons. Other than that, if you want to watch it, I believe it's on BritBox. I think here, I don't know if there's anywhere where you could stream it, but it's very findable if you're savvy with the internets.
Yeah, I think there's ITV or one of the major UK networks has like a streaming service outside of BritBox, but I think I'm just going to cave and get BritBox and cancel a bunch of other stuff because there's so much good stuff on there that you just can't get anywhere else.
And then to plug ourselves, S1E1pod.com. That's where you can find all the links to our social medias, everywhere you can listen to us, all that stuff. Merch page if you want to buy a shirt, all that. So S1E1pod.com. Again, because this is a British show, it runs that standard 29 minutes, usually 29 to 30 minutes versus our 22-ish minutes. So there's probably a lot to cover. So I'd like to get into it sooner than later. So without rambling on for too long, I think we should just dive right in.
Oh, Jay, did you tell him about our new S1E1 Thin Blue Line shirt for this
Not
week?
making that.
The S1E1 podcast supports the Thin Blue Line. It's Mr. Bean as the Punisher. Oh my god.
I guess if we could think of the right way to do it, I would consider. But that's a story. That's a conversation for another day.
The Bean Punisher.
No, of all the shirts we suggested to you, you don't just make this one.
Yeah, I've suggested gold. We're not going to make that one.
I can't believe we still don't have a Horny Frank shirt.
If you guys could like fund me a couple weeks off where I could just sit at my computer and design t-shirts, I would love to do it. Trust me. But anyways, to get into the actual show, I want to get into this. Opening is just like the theme is like kind of like a whistling music, and all we're really seeing is close-ups of all the main characters of the show kind of adjusting themselves in their uniforms, and then we kind of pan out at the end to see that they're all about to take a group photo, and that's it. It's just a photo of that precinct or however they're described there.
I hope you like this song because you're going to hear it a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of the whistle song throughout the show. It's fine for what it is. I mean, this theme, it's quick enough. I get it.
Yeah. It doesn't leave any kind of mark on me. It's one way or the other. It's very insignificant intro.
I do like the frame
the
swinging.
little thing at the end where you pan out. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was
like, at least lets you know it's a comedy.
95 graphic wise, it was acceptable. And then like for like a goofy cop show, like what are your other real music options? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, in a situation like this too, like I would love those, like, we're running around and we're cops and we don't know what we're doing. Like, this is one of those shows where like I would appreciate that kind of a theme song.
That classic hit.
Like, I'll write the song tomorrow.
First scene, we're in the station, right as Raymond Fowler, who is Rowan Atkinson's character, he's finishing up like with the morning briefing with all them. And now forgive me, here's where I struggle, because even when I'm reading the names of all the characters, I don't know proper rankings in like British police. So
you don't? What an idiot.
I don't really know where anyone ranks at certain times.
So I will give you this, at least the two things to know from this. And again, this is stuff I literally only know from punk songs, is the people in the uniforms are police constables or PCs. And then the detectives who were in the suits are CID, which is Criminal Investigation Division.
And they're all bobbies.
No, only the PCs are bobbies.
Reading up ahead of time, saw that So in the show, we see everybody who like works inside the station in uniform. That was not how things were done at that time in England. But they thought for the aesthetic of the show, it was better to keep them in their uniforms.
When I think of English bobbies, I think of two things. One is very Boston regional specific. Do you remember that there was a like regional chain of copy places that was called Copy Cop?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their logo was like three bobbies with the little the truncheon.
Yeah, that's
up.
right. Are they not a thing?
No, that went out. The last one I think was in Harvard Square, and that went out probably like 2000-ish. And then I just think of the opening scene of
Is Kinko's a thing?
Kinko's is still around, yeah.
FedEx owns Kinko's now, though. I thought all
Yeah.
Kinko's are
Yeah,
in
FedEx,
a FedEx.
Kinko's, and then there's the UPS store where you can do copying, and then Staples still.
Didn't FedEx always own Kinko's? Wasn't it FedEx Kinko's?
No, they were separate, and I think FedEx and they merged because then you could mail stuff from the Kinko's too. The big one that was 24 hours in Harvard Square, the downstairs part was like FedEx, and the upstairs part was Kinko's.
And Joe used to photocopy his ass cheeks at all hours of the night.
Mainly flyers, but yeah, I was there oftentimes late at night.
I always heard. I haven't thought about this in a long time, but I just thought of it now. I always heard that cop stands for constable on patrol. I've never looked that up though. Is that true? Has anybody else ever heard that?
In Police Academy, it's Citizens on Patrol.
And that does have the Bones Brigade in it.
It makes sense. I've never looked it up officially. So,
But I think cop is like a pejorative. Like, I don't think they like being called cops, even though the TV show is called Cops. Like, I think police officer is like the...
yeah, you never like cop isn't like official anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So according to Google's AI overview, cop may come from the verb to cop, which means to take or to seize, which also leads from to arrest, the term copper.
Someone who captures. Yeah.
So Gordo, when you do this, what would be beneficial is read it first to yourself, and then once you know what it says, read it out loud.
Well, it also comes from Latin word capere, which was brought to English through the old French word caper.
Thank you for that, Gordo.
Oh, it also may refer to chief of police.
Oh, COP. Yeah.
I guess, but that wouldn't be every cop.
No, that's Google AI overview. That's not Gordo.
I mean, I don't trust AI for anything. I think AI is the worst thing that ever happened. So I'm going to say that's wrong.
Really? Because I just saw a video of Chris Benoit blowing everyone a kiss recently.
For a second, I thought you said blowing everyone at Kiss. And I was like, did somebody make a video of Chris Benoit at a Kiss concert being like, crazy night?
Wait, that's what I heard too. That blowing everybody in Kiss.
A kiss. A kiss.
Okay, all right. I was with Joe on that one. Then I thought you saw a video of Chris Benoit blowing the members of Kiss.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong?
Ladies and
with
gentlemen, Chris Benoit and Ace Frehley. What's happening right now?
No.
He made a slightly inappropriate comment into a violently inappropriate visual.
I think anything violently inappropriate belongs to Chris Benoit, though.
And whoever framed him.
Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
god!
The S1E1 podcast does not agree with the views of Jay Gags.
Don't let Paul Heyman hear you say that. He gets fucking angry.
He should, because his friend got muck-ducked by fucking Chris Benoit. He's a terrible person.
Muck-ducked?
What the hell is muck duck?
That's an Office reference. You wouldn't get it because you're cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nick, I was expecting to pick that.
I watched The Office and I didn't get it.
When Dwight says that R is the most menacing consonant, that's why it's murder, not muck-duck. Internally here, we use muck-duck as like a verb.
It's the Mafia episode.
So yeah, to talk about the show again. They're doing the morning briefing. You know, so it's just it's weird. Like, it's so tough to like explain through dialogue just to read it in a way that like makes sense. Because a lot of their humor is in pronunciation and they're really good at like, I would say like a lot of British humor is really good in the art of like knowing when to have like an awkward pause too. And like,
Yes.
Specifically, Rowan Atkinson.
I mean, he's great at that. I mean, like face acting, right? Like Rowan Atkinson, his most famous character has no dialogue. He is such a funny face actor.
and he's kind of giving like a speech, and it kind of ends in him talking about how like there's like the two forces, you know, that bring everything together, those of order and those of chaos. And he's like, and then between them or us, the thin blue line. And then the guy, Kevin's like, so there's 3 forces. He's like, no, there's 2.
I hate this guy.
And he's like, no, there's 3 because we're a force 2. He's like, no. He's like, we're just in the middle. Kevin, you don't like?
I don't like Kevin either.
He's the too dumb to function character that I typically hate.
He's both too dumb to function, but then I feel like they also can't write him to either be like gay coded,
Yeah.
or not.
No, there's a whole like subplot about him liking a girl.
Right, but I feel like they're making his character be like a gay coded character, but then also make him be in love with Habib, and that's just like confusing. Like it feels like they need to go one of.
I'm sorry, Joe, if you think that liking chocolate is gay, but
I also don't think they need him. I think there's a good amount of characters on this show, and he seems like a filler character that might not be necessary.
you see him as Phil. See, that's weird. Again, like it's kind of like to me, he's the number 3 on the show as far as like how much time he was given and plot point.
I mean, they give him a lot of time.
He was more annoying than anything to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's like right here. He's kind of like the foil to Raymond's character right now.
It's almost like what's that movie? Hot Fuzz. How Simon Pegg's character is super serious, and all of the other officers are just really goofy in the town.
So everyone clears out after the briefing, and right when that's happening, one of the detectives, like the head detective, Derek Graham, walks in, and basically, well, I don't want to skip by this because it's probably the thing that made Gordo laugh. So he says, Raymond, why do you blue bottles bother? The uniform constable is obsolete, extinct like the doo-doo, which he meant the
Immediately,
dodo.
I was like, well, Gordo shouldn't cancel this
Is that
episode.
not
right?
objectively funny? Did you guys just not?
No,
did
it
you
is
guys just
objectively
grimace
funny.
at it? Like confusing the dodo for the doo-doo is funny.
I mean, sure. And a lot of it again goes like it's tough for me because like a lot of the humor here is in pronunciation and how it's delivered.
It's the King's English. So,
Oh, the Kinglish.
yes, the Kinglish.
Well, we had a queen at the time, so it was the Quinglish.
Okay. But
I mean, it's a whole other about the Queen, sort of, right?
That
wasn't funny.
So, but basically, this whole argument that he's having with Raymond is this idea of like, so his unit right now is kind of doing this whole thing on credit card fraud, and they're doing all of this through computer work. Again, you're talking 95. So we are seeing like the internet really starting to become more of a thing, like even in households, like, the internet's starting to spike, but it's not where it's at now. We don't have high speed internet or anything like that, but we're getting to a point where it's a more viable tool. Raymond is of the old school, and he's like, no, we have like these trained officers who do the investigations.
I do like this though, because I feel like especially now it's a little different, but I think there is a place for like, if you're doing like detective work, there is a place for like boots on the ground, interviewing people, looking for real clues, and computers can help you. But I definitely appreciate at this time those old hardened cops being like, what is this stupid shit? Like police work is police work, right? Like the computer takes away from it. So typically when I'm not happy about computer times intervening in things, I think it does make a good foil in this.
Yeah, I think for this time, like, again, 95 is the perfect time to have this kind of an argument,
Yeah.
Because like we've definitely hit shows too where you're like, it's a little late for this argument to be happening, because sometimes it's just the old guy who doesn't want to change his ways. This is like a point in time where it's still like,
this is almost a little early for the argument to be happening. Almost,
you can make enough of an argument like, let's see where this internet thing's going first before we put all our eggs in it. Like it's still like new enough that you can still kind of like die on that hill if you want to.
Yeah, like a 95, their computer's literally probably just spreadsheets. Like, it's not going to have crime-solving technology that's going to do very much.
Whereas now, like I was reading the other day about like touch DNA, which is just like, if you were in this room and you like breathed, they can tell you were there now. Like the amount of specificity that you can use technology to solve a crime is fucking crazy, which is insane to me. Whenever anybody like robs a bank, I'm like, do you think you'll get away with this?
I know.
In 2025, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think I could do it.
Next week's episode is 4 of us. Like, Ferg was arrested last week.
So now we know Ferg watched The Town after he got out of work today.
It's Ferg. He's wearing the whole nun outfit, but not the mask. He's like, I didn't pay attention to the movie.
What are you, a trigger man now?
No, I was going to see Sister Act on Broadway. We're all dressing up.
R.I.P. Whoopi.
Yeah, I mean, and this is kind of a thing that goes on throughout the episode a bit. And it's these old computers, like the ones that, like, you know, as big as they are, they're capable of doing next to nothing.
It's all monitor, baby.
After their argument, we cut to Maggie and Kevin. They're two of the people on the force, two of the officers. Kevin, we spoke of earlier, was in the briefing. Maggie, also part of this precinct, and they're doing an actual investigation because the last thing we hear Raymond say is Bobby's best friend is his brain, and you get the close up now of Kevin like holding a piece of glass and making a goofy face, kind of displaying him as an idiot. So that's like the humor in that transition. They're going through an apartment that was just recently robbed. And like the argument they're having at first is they see the broken glass, and then Kevin's trying to argue that maybe they came in from, maybe the robbing was from the inside. And then like, well, then how'd the glass, if it was from the inside, why would the glass be inside of the apartment? And they get into the whole debate about that. And he's thinking that it's all just like one big insurance job.
And now at this point, you weren't like, "Oh, this guy is toast," right? Like this.
I think
This
he's
is the
dumb.
point for me that I was like, "Oh no." I thought of Ferg. I'm like, "Oh no, this guy's like
Too dumb to function.
irreparably
for Ferg,
dumb." Yeah.
I definitely got that he's kind of an idiot, but he's also just like maybe just a bad cop more than anything is what they're trying to demonstrate is just like his ability to put the puzzle together. But I didn't get that like too dumb to function from him.
No, but why would you keep him around? How would he have passed whatever police exam you have to pass to become an officer? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I've seen 8 Police Academy films, and a few of those people probably shouldn't have gotten on the force too.
To be fair, I mean, every show needs a person like this. This one doesn't seem. I mean, maybe as the show goes on, it gets like he gets developed a little better. I just like think as of this episode, he's very raw and too dumb and annoying, and it's like right away.
To counter that, though, I think that his stupidity and his being bad at his job is a good counterbalance to showing how good Constable Habib is at her job.
Yeah.
And helps her story arc along in the episode where you're like, okay, well, she's a good cop. She's there for a reason. She's disillusioned, but she immediately sees all this stuff, right? Like, that's who you want to be on the
Yeah, that's
force.
one way to look at it.
His argument is like, well, if it is from the inside with all this glass here, we'll see that the culprit has cut up fingers. And she's like, okay, you're an idiot, essentially. And then there's a guy who's like sitting across the room who we later find out is the guy who lives in the apartment. And they go over to him to like start interviewing him, like see what happens. And as soon as they walk over, like Kevin like checks his fingers for like cuts.
He does like a very like pratfallish way to look at
Yeah.
it too.
honestly, the way to do this show would have been have Kevin be right in the end that he robbed himself.
Yeah.
I don't want this to come off the wrong way. The guy who's playing the guy who lives in the apartment, was he too good of an actor for this show? And this isn't even like shitting on the show. I just felt like
Yes.
this guy's too good for the show he's on, or he's acting too serious to fit in with the level everyone else is at.
This is the joke in Wayne's World 2 where they pull out Charlton Heston, like, can we get a better actor for this? Like, it's just like doesn't make sense that like this guy's probably like a fucking theater actor who like, does Shakespeare and is like, I'll do a fucking one-off on this show, fuck it.
They're doing like the, hey, can you tell us what's been taken and the value? And he's like, my self-respect, my peace of mind, my sense of well-being. And he's doing it in this way that's like, he's like giving a monologue here. And you're like, this doesn't flow with the vibe of the show I've been catching so far.
Like, you want to like turn to him holding a skull and being like, am I so homely and unkempt? You're like, oh no, he's doing Shakespeare again. Get him out of here.
When he gives all those answers, could you describe these items, please? He's like, they're beyond value. And Kevin's like, I told you, insurance claims.
I do think that's a funny line though, too, right? Like how dim-witted Kevin is. Kevin sort of reminds me of the boy band guy from Party Down.
Oh, see, who's the guy from 30 Rock? The assistant.
Tracy Morgan.
No,
he means
no.
that tall, lanky guy.
Kenneth.
Yeah. I could see that.
That's
too,
who he
yeah.
reminds me of.
No, Kenneth is like is so innocent and pure. Like that, like
Yeah, he's like innocent dumb.
He's also immortal.
They also kind of look the same.
ish.
It's that like dyed blonde 90s hair.
Yeah,
It's very boy band hair.
like what we used to have.
Like we all still have. Everyone's hats come off. Big blonde locks shoot out. Frosted tips.
So basically, this guy's asking them like, well, how's it looking? And they told him like, realistically, like in this area with the amount of burglaries, like we'll do the best we can, but there's only so much we can do. He goes, I don't even know why I bothered calling you guys. You're about as much use as a tin tack in a jockstrap.
Yeah.
What's a tin tack?
Thumbtack.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, you wouldn't want a tack in your jockstrap. Your peepee would get stabbed.
Well, I never called it a tin tack. That's why it threw me.
Because most thumbtacks don't have the plastic piece on them. That's like a specific thing. Those are called like thumbtacks because they're like to protect your finger from getting pinched or whatever. You've seen like we have in school a lot, right? Like the ones that are just like metal.
Yeah, I just never called it a tin tack. That's so it. I thought maybe it was.
It's like tinfoil, right? Like I still say tinfoil. We looked this up one day. We talked on the podcast. They haven't made aluminum foil out of tin in like 100 years, but like it just weirdly culturally is a thing. You say tinfoil.
Yeah, but here's my struggle, right? I don't know British slang. For me, tin tacks could be some sort of a cookie.
It's Tintin's brother. Like, oh, Tintin, get your doggy and your brother Tin Tack.
Aluminium.
After he said that to them, we cut back to the station. We see this guy who, I don't know, I believe him to be drunk, and he's at the desk inside the station talking to one of the sergeants. She asks him name. He goes, oh, I can't remember. And she writes, Mr. Arso, basically saying, Mr. Asshole.
I laughed.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't figure out exactly what his position was. Was he being detained?
I think he was being brought into like the drunk tank, right? And like if you're the desk sergeant, like your job all day or all night, whatever it is to just like intake all these shitheads.
Some of them aren't so bad.
I was gonna say, Jay, as somebody who's talked to desk sergeants drunk before.
While she's talking to this guy, we see that Maggie is standing there, and she's really taking home with her, or even though she's still at work, she's like the whole thing going through that apartment. It's bothering her because she wants to help this guy, but basically understands that like nothing's probably going to come out of this. And this guy's life's pretty much, he's in shambles. He's lost all his stuff. He's like emotionally distraught, and there's really nothing they can do about it.
I think this is really good. It sets up her story arc, I think, very well. Like her mentality of how she feels about this, and that she probably became a cop in like a very compassionate way to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, as somebody who lived in a million apartments, I never once had apartment insurance. I don't know if any of you guys ever have, but like that's devastating, right? Like your whole apartment, if your whole life gets stolen from you and you have like or your house burnt down or whatever, like you have no insurance, that's fucking terrifying. You can't just recoup that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But even in those cases, obviously you want the insurance, but a lot of items are just irreplaceable regardless of the cash value. And like, I think that's always tough.
Sure, but the cash also doesn't hurt.
I mean, I read a lot of stories about the last wildfire. People were just like, we lost things that you could never replace, and your heart just breaks for them. You know, like insurance won't fix it.
When you like, yeah, all the fires that were just like recently of the time of this recording, we're only like a month or so removed from all those fires in LA. You talk to any of those people or listen to interviews, and it's like if you had to run out, you can only grab one thing to put in the car. Most of them are grabbing photo albums and stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like I need my watch.
Yeah.
So, obviously those things will hit you. But back in this conversation here, Maggie's talking to, the sergeant, and the sergeant's telling her name's Patricia. What does she go by? Like Patrice?
Cabbage?
Well, her pet name, but as we find out, but she's telling Maggie, like, you got to be less married to this place. Like, you can't just, there's more to life essentially than just your job, and you can't take it home with you. And that's when Maggie's going her like, well, hold on. Like, aren't you the one who's virtually married to Inspector Fowler? Like, he's like the number one guy when it comes to like taking your work seriously at all times. She's saying like, you don't know him the way like I know him. Like, Raymond has a very deep and romantic soul. And right as she says that, he like pokes his head in the doorway. Like he just biked over, and he like kind of looks over with like a goofy look to him, which gets a nice little crowd reaction.
This is where he like does a little tour de force too, though, where he's like, "Hey, remember me, Rowan Atkinson? I'm gonna be super fucking funny for the next minute."
Yeah.
He had a flat tire on his bike.
I think he's got a slow puncture. Like they just make everything here super sexual.
And he's talking about how he's gonna like lay his bike over the table and like wrestle with the inner tube. And while he's saying this is when Patricia's looking back at Maggie going like, we've been together for 10 years. Like, it can't all be candlelit dinners and, jars of Vaseline and double jointed sexual gymnastics.
I love this line so much because it's like the tiniest little bit to give like what Patricia wants and is about, and then it's like the weirdness of, not weirdness, but like, Vaseline sex, right? And like weird shit, and Rowan Atkinson's such a fucking dummy. Like, I think that's like a perfect way to just give her that one line and then move on. Like, to me, that read as like, that's what she wants.
I don't want to be covered in Vaseline.
Gordo, have you had any bad lube experiences in your past?
Should have just kept it silent.
I'm just saying, like, I picture like slathering it on your body, like, and that's like.
That was a question I had. What is Vaseline used for? In that situation?
Usually it's for anal sex, or it's for people who are too dry. It's for drier areas.
I get that. I feel like that there are like 1,000 other things you could use instead of Vaseline.
But at that time, there weren't.
Oh, okay.
This is pre like AdamandEve.com, right? Or you can go to Target. I was walking through Target the other day looking for deodorant and was like, why is there butthole lube at Target? Just call it something else. I'm fine with it, but like, I don't want to buy that at Target. That shit to me too. Conspiracy theory. They keep selling things like that to make you only go to self-checkout because you're going to feel weird going to the nice 40-year-old lady and buying your butthole spread. You're going to go to self-checkout so they can not employ more cashiers. This is
butthole spread.
It's not butter.
I guess you could use butter.
We know he's
too.
not putting it on toast because he eats his fucking toast dry.
Imagine I would come home in a weird situation where it's like a sexual thing. It's like, do you have any butter? Like, no, why? It's like, I want it for sex. Like, I don't even put it on toast. What are you talking about? Let the dry sex commence.
I know such a large percentage of the internet videos we see are staged and fake, but one that really upset me because I wanted it to be real was that woman who ate, she was like, oh, I'm trying like American sandwiches, and she puts the peanut butter and KY jelly sandwich and takes a bite of it. Because she just seemed so innocent when she did it. Like, oh, I'm really excited to eat this. And like, it really, like, then when you see like, oh, she makes a ton of videos, like, this sucks. Like, I was.
If it was one video, you'd be like, oh, good for her.
It was like, because it was so funny, but then like, once you know it's not real, it takes away from it.
It helps me to know that somebody's not actually that stupid. I'm kind of glad it's fake.
Well, in fairness, if you're from another country, speaking another language, and you're just being told like, oh, you're going to try peanut butter and jelly. It's the best. She has peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, but they'll be in different sections. One will be in food, one will be in butt stuff.
There's a whole butt stuff section?
What aisle is your butt stuff
section?
in?
I feel like I couldn't actually ask that to anybody at a store like that because everyone's either like a nice older person or somebody so young where like you can't ask either of those age groups that question.
Chris Hansen comes out and takes you away.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Why do you have the butt stuff here?
Want to get back into this? Joe, you mentioned there was like a lot of stuff that were like very regionally references. This is a point where we had a couple because he's talking about like, oh, it's my turn to cook tonight. He's like, I thought I might make some rizzles, and I was like, so I looked that up, and like they're like, did any of you guys look into this stuff?
Yeah, I looked into most of the foods and everything that I didn't know. Yeah.
So this one's like, it's typically beef, but sometimes it's made with fish. And it's just basically mashed up meat with potato and herbs, and like then they'll just kind of like
sounds
breadcrumb
delightful.
them and fry them. Like so it sounds pretty good. It's nothing like that crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad. It's like a cutlet.
It's almost like a hybrid cutlet, meatloaf, country
Shepherd's
fried
pie
steak,
sort of
yeah,
thing,
like
yeah.
rice ball type of thingy. Yeah.
Aside from the fish, I would be all for it. Yeah.
And then the other one he mentioned were bloaters, but that was like sounded less appealing. It was like a herring that's like smoked whole, and then a lot of people eat them with the guts because it has like a stronger taste. I'm like,
so gross. Yeah.
I love
Ew.
seafood. Joe, I know you can't eat seafood. I love seafood. I eat a lot of sushi. I eat a lot of cooked fish. But anytime you see like a restaurant that has like the full fish when they put it on the plate, like with
you
the
gotta
head,
cut around all the stuff. Yeah.
I don't fuck with that. Like I can't do that.
Nope.
I'm not a bear.
Nope. Freaks me out.
There's like two schools of thought for that too, where it's like I would be a vegetarian if somebody was like, you have to kill the animal to eat it, right? Like I get that. But if somebody was like, hey, every time you have meatloaf, you have to like cut the fucking intestines out first, I'd be like, yeah, never. You couldn't do it. We were sheltered as people who live in this part of the world and this time of the world, you know?
In the midst of this conversation, we're also finding out she's telling Maggie kind of as Raymond's talking to himself, really, oh, tomorrow is actually our 10th anniversary. So I'm going to surprise him with like a special breakfast.
And butt stuff.
Not for breakfast. No. We cut to the following morning and she's like, oh, wake up, wake up. Like, hey, I made breakfast for you. And he like has no idea what's going on. And then we also find out that she can't cook at all. She gives him toast, which is like super burnt. And then waffles that almost looked like spaghetti when you looked at it, like watching it. I'm like,
I'm also assuming that we don't know this, but her character has no sense of smell because there's no way you could cook a cup of gravy and mistake it for a cup of coffee. Like everyone has smelled coffee and everyone has smelled cooking gravy. You know what I mean? Like you'd never once be like, oh yeah, this coffee smells sweet and savory like a gravy cup.
Does she literally have no sense of smell? Is that like a thing?
No.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm guessing that's the only way you can make coffee.
it was one of those, I mean, there's one thing to like not be a good cook, but she's like, her level of cooking is tragic.
You don't drink coffee. You're the one person here out of all of us who doesn't drink coffee. But do you know what coffee smells like?
Yeah, I love the smell of coffee.
Do you know what gravy smells like?
Are you talking about actual gravy or that stuff you guys call pasta sauce?
No, brown gravy.
Yeah, I do.
You son of a bitch. You wouldn't confuse the two ever, right?
No.
Thank you. That's just, it's a little too dumb.
No, I understood what you were saying. I just didn't know if that was literally something about the character, like that you knew that I didn't.
No, I'm just assuming to make it work.
Well, the stretches we make to make these shows make sense.
Can you use gravy for lube?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
I mean, I imagine it's usually viscous and fatty. Oh.
I got something else that's viscous and fatty.
Oh yeah, what?
My dick.
Why
I've seen your dick. These are those things.
Let me look up the meaning of viscous.
Actually, your dick may be viscous, Gordo. Maybe slimy and slithering.
How do you spell it?
You guys are gonna
This-
chase away all the posh people we got from England that like
That's
this
a
show.
singular form of viscera.
You spelled it wrong.
The wrestler viscera.
Gordo's dick is just viscera.
Little gold mohawk.
The world
It's like
largest
how
lover.
like how thick a lubricant is.
No, it's a main organ that is situated inside a body.
Yeah.
That would be my
So
dick.
your penis is a vagina.
Yeah, my dick in a vagina. Viscous.
It sounded like a rap refrain right there. You stopped. There was no audio. You said, my dick inside a vagina.
Yeah, no, you're spelling it wrong. It's viscous. How are you spelling viscous?
Listen, don't ask me that. viscus.
Yeah, no, ous.
But-
You guys find the older you get, the worse you get at spelling. I've been struggling
yes,
lately.
I do struggle to spell sometimes.
Oh, that's like my poop. Having a thick, sticky consistency between solid and liquid.
You're not healthy.
Understand what I was
That's your
saying now
poop.
with gravy? No? Makes sense? Okay.
See a doctor.
Do you really want to walk into a doctor's office and see me?
I didn't say go to me, the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Ferg didn't say, I want to be your doctor.
I told you to see a doctor because apparently your shit is constantly viscous.
Oh, I thought you said I should be a doctor.
No.
No one has ever said you should be a doctor.
Only of thugonomics, if you know what I mean.
Word life.
You are wearing jorts, so that does make sense.
Well, anyways, to get the fuck out of this conversation. So her breakfast, again, fucking terrible. She has waffles that were confused for scrambled eggs. She's put gravy in the coffee. He which was only discovered because, oh no, it wasn't even for that. He ate the waffle, right? And was like, oh, maybe a little too much salt. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, salt in the waffle? But she even said, like, I didn't put any salt in there. He's like, oh, well, there's definitely salt in here. And then she gets upset, like, well, in that case, I put sugar in your bacon and eggs. And I was like, well, that's probably not the worst mistake. I mean, like, you could probably, like, make that work.
I don't want salt in my bacon and eggs either, though.
I put maple syrup on my bacon.
A little salt on the eggs sometimes.
I just do pepper. Bacon and eggs are so salty anyway.
Well, the bacon is.
For the waffle to be confused with scrambled eggs, does that just mean she didn't cook it enough, you think?
Correct.
I don't know. When you looked at it, like I said, I thought it looked like pasta.
Yeah, it looked like it was like strands of waffle.
Yeah, I don't know what she did. I think that's the point. I think she cooked off waffles. Awful waffle.
If there's anything I've learned from the internet, you could put anything in a waffle iron and it turns into a waffle. So if you put waffle mix in a waffle iron, it shouldn't look like spaghetti.
I made brownies on one once. It was delicious.
Hold on. So maybe she made him a blue waffle because he's a cop.
All right.
Is that a joke I should get a reference to somehow?
Oh, yeah, Joe, just look it up.
Just Google blue waffle.
Yeah.
And if you're a listener, don't Google it. I don't think it pulls up anymore. That was all discovered to be like fake.
Thank goodness.
So back to breakfast again. He's sitting there and he's kind of like, so what is this, to what do I deserve this, like such a splendid gesture? You know why? He's like, and he doesn't know why.
Classic miscommunication.
Yeah, so he forgot about their 10-year anniversary. And he's like, oh, of course I remembered. It's always, important to remember stuff. And
You guys feel, I know we don't know that much about this character at this point. Like, we've had very little, we just met him. But do you feel like this is out of character for him to forget because he's so meticulous?
Yes.
Like, he'd know dates.
Yeah.
sure,
He's a very specific person.
Yeah, but I feel like this meticulousness starts and stops at work. I think he's just kind of aloof outside of,
obsessed with, being an officer.
Sure, but does everybody here has a job that they're unfortunately consumed with most of their lives, who has a significant other, do you know your anniversry?
Yes.
Yes, it's saved in
Yeah.
my phone.
Yes.
I
Right,
only
so
know
that's
because
the
it's
issue.
9/11.
Want to trade? Nick, can we trade?
Sure.
Like, babe, I know our wedding wasn't technically this day, but
Question to the two married men.
Yeah.
Once you become married, what happens to your old anniversary?
it's dead.
You still celebrate it.
Okay, thanks
Oh.
for a mixed bag answer. All right. I guess
There we go.
Use his choice.
I'm going to go with Joe's answer.
Now, maybe Joe probably does the same thing as I do.
I don't think there's many things that you both do the same.
It's my Martha-versary.
Skibbity.
He's so mad. Gordo's so fucking mad right now.
Anything else?
The only clip for this episode is just for saying this one.
Gonna shut the camera.
As I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted with your childish humor, I'm sure Joe does the same thing as me, where it's not celebrated per se, but it's acknowledged. You might do like a little dinner, but you wouldn't go all out like you would a wedding anniversary.
We weirdly kind of, when we got married, we're like, this is the anniversary now. We'll like acknowledge to ourselves, like, hey, this was when we first started dating.
Yeah.
But we don't like do a dinner or anything. It's just like, crazy, we've been together this long, but like the marriage superseded it.
Okay.
I think for us, the weird thing is every Valentine's Day, we'll just like add the next year. Be like, oh, we've been together for X amount of years this Valentine's Day. And that's kind of it.
Ah.
Which I think this year was 17 years, which is fucking bananas. We started dating right before I turned 23, and I'm 39 now.
Shouldn't be fucking bananas, though. Kind of weird.
Where I come from, bananas fuck you.
I fucked a blue banana recently. It was not an enjoyable scenario.
Right. So,
Fucking Donkey Kong. over
that
here.
conversation between Ray and his girlfriend ends with, he mentions like, oh, I have to run out. I have a gift I need to pick up. So she's thinking like, oh, he did remember he's grabbing like my anniversary gift or whatever. We cut to the station again and we see that detective from earlier, and he's like mashing at a computer. Remember, like earlier, he's going on and on about how great they are, and now he's complaining about how, I've done everything. I can't get this thing to work. I've booted it up. I've patched in. I'm online. I'm offline. And then come to find out, he forgot to plug it in.
So he wasn't patched in.
Is this unibrow dude, is he a cop, or is he just like their IT guy?
He's another detective, I believe.
Yeah, I thought he was like he's the balding guy, second in command, is what I thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I take it that there's like the uniform side, which is more like the officers, and then the non-uniform occupants are all like detectives.
Is there anything more, I don't know why, but unibrows disgust me for some reason. I cannot see past a unibrow in any way. This guy could have had a dick on his chin, and I would have not seen it past this unibrow.
I don't know what every individual listener we has look like, so I'm not going to comment.
They don't
one way or
have
another.
unibrows.
I will say this. Look, as I get older, the line between my two eyebrows definitely has more hair on it, and I pluck it once a year. You don't have to do
I
it
got a
once a
few
year.
hairs in between. It's not like profound.
That's the beauty of glasses. You can't even see my eyebrows.
Yeah, glasses hide it. I also have to shave my ears like once a month. So, I mean, like, I'm not
I
here
have
to
to
judge
shave it
anybody.
once a week. I'm like a
Yeah, I'm
werewolf.
getting more ear hair than I'd like to admit at this point.
No ear hair, but nose hair.
My nose hair gets out of control. It will like grow out and touch my mustache. And so like just regular speaking and moving like tickles my nose. It's the most uncomfortable feeling.
What have we become?
Can you get your nose hair laser removed? Because I would do that.
Yeah, what's that called? That's that electrolysis in your nose?
Is that electrolysis? I think it might be, yeah.
But I think you just want to trim it, not get rid of it, because the nose hair is there to like stop stuff. from getting
Yeah,
into your
that does
body.
serve a function.
I also
actually,
like
yeah.
pulling them out.
Oh God.
So anyways, now we're cutting back to the office. It's another one of Raymond's morning briefings. He lets everyone know that the topic of the day is going to be pickpocketing, and he brings up the fact that, and also I have a collecting tin for the Queen's birthday present. Essentially wants everyone to put $3 in per person to pay for this gift. And like, I just thought like the idea in general of like, it's the Queen's birthday. We need to buy her like a present, like a normal ass present, like from the state, like as if you would do that with the president here. Like, this is just from everyone from my office. We got you like a little trinket. Like that's so abnormal.
This is more him like overvaluing his importance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
he thinks that the Queen like would actually give a shit.
I also looked into this too. Did you see? So over there, like they celebrate like royalty's birthday twice, essentially, like the actual day of the birthday. And then I think it was like something like, forgive me, I don't remember the exact date. I'm going off the top of my head, but it was something like the second weekend in June is when it's like formally always celebrated, like regardless of the king or queen's birthday, because that's when it was always historically done.
Well, the U.S. was like that too forever. You celebrated Washington and Lincoln's birthday, and they made it President's Day.
And then we had, President's Day. But we're celebrating like the Queen's birthday twice.
Yeah, because one's not the Queen's birthday.
Yeah, and then just the one that's
Also, and I'm not trying to get political at all. I don't care about any president, but like if someone was like I think the inflation calculator of this is like $6, was like, hey, it's $6. Do you want to give $6 to the president? Not once in my life would I say yes.
And again, it's just like the idea of like handing an item as if like you were going to the Queen's birthday party. Like, hey, we got you this. Like, how do you even logistically get this to the Queen?
Yeah, you're not going to get that to the
You
Queen.
go to the gate with the soldiers out that aren't allowed to move, and you just leave
Just
it in
something
front of
from
them.
all of us. Yeah, just leave it at the door.
Yeah, from the precinct down the street.
We should all throw in for the president's birthday.
And they're talking about how like she's not like part of like, he's like, well, technically she's our boss, because we are members of Her Majesty's police force. So
But not technically right either, because like the Queen is a figurehead. The Prime Minister is who's in charge. Monarchies are a very weird thing, right? Where like they're a monarchy, but the monarchy doesn't really mean anything.
well, he's trying to find a way to justify a reason that all his coworkers should be chipping in for this present, essentially. So by angling it like, well, technically she's our boss, is his way of trying to make that work. And that's when you get the dude Frank, who's like, personally, I think celebrating birthdays at work is a bad idea. Frank is a big Jamaican guy, and no, I will not be doing a Jamaican accent every time he speaks. But I will say, watching any obviously, like, they're no more native to America than they are England, right? Like, if you're not in Jamaica, you're out of the country. But hearing a Jamaican accent out of nowhere in this show, I was like, whoa, what just happened? Like, it threw me for a loop.
It's funny. It's like, that's an accent to both countries.
Well, it's interesting too, because like England has just as much immigration as we do, right? Like, so, I mean, that's why, like, they mentioned curry later. Like, curry is like getting pizza in England, right? Like, there's that much of an Indian, and so like this guy being there makes total sense. But yeah, you're not expecting the accent.
Yeah, so it threw me a little bit.
Now, what are your thoughts on the gift for the queen?
Did we already see it at this point? It was like this little figurine. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think we see it till later, but
it was a little like kid fishing. Like, what are those called? Those are called
like
something.
precious moments.
Yeah,
it's something you get from the relative that knows nothing about you. That
Right.
you go, oh.
like they bought for you at the Hallmark store. Like,
They're like cherubic. I just like that he talks about the elephant impression, which I, in my entire life, have always known as a one-eared elephant. I never thought of it as a two-eared elephant.
Why
think this
one
is
ear?
funny. Frank's the one who brings it up. I don't know. Why did I not remember this? I feel like this is something that I should know, but it really threw me for a loop. I got a legit laugh out of this.
oh, did you miss the memo about the elephant?
This is one of those things, too, though, where, like, this was a previous time in life. Like, you could never do this now.
Well, you can't show it. You can insinuate it, I think, on certain shows. You can definitely insinuate.
No, he's saying the reality of it. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it, like, if you were at a work party and someone was like, do you want to see the one-eared elephant? You'd be like, what? That person would be fired.
Well, yeah, you can't fucking take your dick out at a work party.
I will say, I've worked at jobs where, like, that wouldn't have been weird.
If you don't know what this what the elephant impression is, basically Frank took the pockets out, and flipped them inside out to emulate the ears, and then that leaves for the zipper contents to be the elephant's nose.
Trunk.
Put that together, yeah. The trunk.
The elephant's nose.
The same shit.
The elephant's nose sounds like a kid's book that, like, nobody wants to read.
Joe, what makes it the one-eared elephant? Did you only pull out one pocket?
Yeah, because when you say it to somebody, like, do you want to see a one-eared elephant? That, like, it throws you off. You're like, what does that mean? And you just do one pocket, and then you're... Not that I've done that in the past or ever. I'm just saying that's the other version of it.
After he does this, he is stopped before he pulls anything out. Kevin says, I don't want to buy the Queen of President, sir. She's an antichrist. You see Raymond's face go, like, cold. He's like, I beg your pardon? Oh, no, I don't mean, I mean an anarchist. And it, again, is not hitting right.
This is an obvious Pistols reference, right?
Yeah, very obvious. Pistols reference.
Yeah.
I think it's very obvious, yeah. I mean, I am
the antichrist. I am an anarchist. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's like God Save the Queen. That is a huge song in England.
I'm in America, and I don't get it.
I'll make you a mixtape.
I won't listen.
Joe, honestly, I didn't pick up on it. Though when you said it, it has to be, right? It has
Okay,
to be.
I'm glad it's not just me.
But then he goes, no, what's that word for, like, someone who's out of date and doesn't matter anymore? And then I did like this whole next, like, 30 seconds of dialogue between everyone, I thought was actually pretty good. It was pretty sharp, and it was funny, and it was, like, well written, and they're going over all these, like, oh, that's anachronism. No, that's not right. It's isn't that someone who's afraid of spiders? No, that's arachnophobic. And they're just kind of going over all these, like, wordplay back and forth. It's a lot of people.
Now, this all surprised me. I know people have issue with the royal family, like, now, but I thought, like, back then, everyone was like, God save the Queen. We love the Queen. How dare you? It's the Queen.
I think there's, like, always a subset of society who's like, why are there just figureheads, though? You know what I mean? Because they're not...
It's just not something I knew existed. Always thought everybody loved the Queen.
No, because even, like, I mean, the song Joe's referencing is from the late 70s.
Yeah, that's from the 76, which is, like, the Queen's Jubilee. I actually have a mug, a Queen's Jubilee mug.
So there's always, like, a tinge of that. And even then, like, and even if you're, like, pro whoever's in charge, like, even here, regardless of your politics, for argument's sake, let's just say we're all for whoever. And it's, whoever's reigning president's birthday. And you're like, hey, we're all going to collect $10 each and buy the president a gift. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, there's no way I would chip in for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're having this whole, like, dialogue back and forth. And during this is when Patrice, the sergeant pops out of like this like little like sliding thing and asks if she could talk to Maggie for a second.
Is it Patrice? I thought it was Patricia.
It's Patricia's her name, and I swear he called her Patrice in their bedroom.
Just call her Cabbage.
I don't mean to deter us further. Has anybody had a nickname as weird as Cabbage for their significant other before? Because it's a weird one.
Gordo has, but it was because of a smell.
It was also Cabbage.
Are you talking about me?
No, the
You're
other
only
Gordo.
I don't see anyone else here.
Does your wife call you Cabbage?
She calls me a lot of words, but cabbage is not one of
Cabbage
them.
is one of them.
Old onion socks.
Yeah, onion socks. She's Mrs. Onion Socks. She married into that one.
Right. So, yeah. So after she says that, Maggie walks around to go talk to her, but in the meantime, she still has like that door open, so she's able to talk to Raymond. And like, Karen's like, oh, thank you. It's like, no, not darling, Inspector Darling. And then it's like, oh, sorry, I'm just so happy. She's excited. She thinks he's getting a gift, like from him. She hasn't found out the reality that he's legit forgot the anniversary. And then she's like, oh, I'm just so excited. And then she just goes, will you give it to me after work? And he just looks at her and goes, possibly, I don't know. I mean, you remember the context being like, just, will you give it to me? Like, she's thinking gift, but outside, everyone there just thinks she's talking about, the deed.
I do love though that her character is so horny.
And then she goes, don't spoil it. I only get it once a year and I want to be surprised. And then like you cut to the reactions of like some of the other officers. And I thought some of them seemed like genuine.
Yeah, like they didn't know that line was coming and they were trying to hold it together.
And then when we cut to like the other side, where Maggie ended up, we see that the guy who was robbed from earlier in the episode, his apartment, like he's there right now. And he's trying to see if like, have there been any updates on my case? And she's just telling like, I'm sorry, but there's really no progress right now.
It's the same day. Like, why would you think there'd be a massive
Yeah.
update?
I mean, I will say though, at least like you probably want answers right away and you believe in the cops,
We're all, everyone to a degree suffers from like main character syndrome, right? So whatever happens to you is the worst thing that happened that day.
Yeah, you're the hero of your own shit.
Yeah, there's like a whole world going on, but your robbery is, what everyone should be focused on.
I was gonna ask why he didn't call on the phone, but they probably stole his phone.
And he's upset. He's like, doesn't anyone care about people anymore? And she, we've come to find out she legit feels bad, but there's nothing she can do.
Fucking Eeyore over here.
Well, he was robbed. I mean, like he's having a day.
Yeah, he's not Eoring. He's like his whole life got upended,
Yeah, well, nobody cares about me. Thanks for
Oh,
noticing.
bother. So after that guy leaves, Maggie heads back around to the other side where that briefing's going on. And this is when we hear Raymond again kind of get back into that topic he was discussing before, which is like the whole thing about pickpocketing. Kind of like almost like in his brain, like a forgotten crime. And he's kind of going over its like, importance and some historical stuff about it. And he's like, all right, I need someone to step forward, and calls Kevin to get up. He's like, all right, Kevin, walk towards me. And like they do like the thing where they pass by and they get like a quick bump by accident. Beg your pardon. And then when they get to the end, we see Raymond was able to pickpocket Kevin in that brief interaction, which I'll say was pretty smooth. So, I mean,
Yeah, not bad. The one time somebody ever tried to pickpocket me was in New York City, and my wallet at the time was on a chain, and they weren't expecting it, and they just fucking ran.
Oh, so they successfully got it out of your pocket without you noticing? And then
Yeah, but then when the chain pulled, I was like, what the fuck? And they just fucking took off.
It's crazy. It's crazy that, if it wasn't for that one thing, he probably successfully would have just got away with your wallet and you wouldn't have been any of the wiser.
Which is crazy too, because like I've always worn very tight pants, right? Like you feel like you'd know somebody pulling something out of your pants, but like this person was so good, I didn't realize until like the tension hit of my wallet chain.
See, I've always been a front pocket wallet guy. Like I just never, except for when I was younger and like I wore a chain as well, like on my wallet, like then you had to. But after that, I've always kept my wallet in my front pocket.
Yeah, I'm a front pocket wallet.
I can't do it.
It's gonna
but
be on the butt.
I also find it uncomfortable to sit on my wallet.
It's very uncomfortable, yeah.
It was giving me like sciatic problems.
Yeah. You're like sitting off balance.
It's a very George Costanza thing. I also like every one of my credit cards is like, because they're just like never flat. Yeah, you're always sitting on like one side or the other.
I also don't have a traditional wallet. It's just like a.
I have a Ridge wallet.
I need a new wallet because my current wallet from when I still worked outside, like just got wet a whole bunch of times, and now it has like a bit of that, like a tinge of hockey bag smell. So I'm like, I need this thing needs to get replaced.
If your wallet smells, time to get a new wallet.
Yeah.
I really want us to get sponsored by that company that makes that wallet where like they shoot up and like you can just take any kind.
I don't like any of those wallets that are hard.
I have one. Exter. I have Exter. I think that's the name.
With the little trigger on the bottom and the
Yep.
Neat.
It's cool. I like
That's
it.
too much technology for me.
The only my wallet is like made of it's like almost like a canvasy material, but the only thing that's in mine is has like the blockers so people aren't supposed to be able to like take your credit card info. But because of those,
You can't get on like the train and stuff.
yeah, like 'cause I used to always just tap my wallet to get on the train, and now you have to take your card out again, and I hate it.
Yeah, it became less of an issue for me when I moved, but I had the same thing where like I needed that for the train or like to get into the practice space. It was all those cards, and then I had to be like, this doesn't matter anymore.
I think I'd rather be susceptible to you stealing my information so I can just tap my wallet against the thing again to get through the train.
I will say for that though, always leave your credit card out first, not your debit. Because at least if they steal your credit card, like it's not anything out of your account, you know? Like you can fight it and nothing is like lost internally right away. I remember once getting my credit card skimmed at a gas station and they were like, we know this is fraud. They stole like $1,000 from your account. And I had like maybe $1,005 in my debit card at the time. And I was like, cool, can I have it back? And they were like, yeah, in 2 weeks when we conclude our investigation. I was like, I have to pay rent. That's my whole money. Like I have no idea what to do right now.
It sucks like losing your debit card. I just had to get a new one recently because somebody stole the number, and you just gotta try to figure out everything that it's linked to. Like I just very, very, very unlucky. It was linked to my Peacock account, which I was discounted because it used to be free and you get grandfathered in with the cheaper rate. They canceled my Peacock because it wasn't paid, and now I have to pay the normal price, like an asshole.
Like a fucking regular asshole. You're watching The Office at regular price now.
Now I have Peacock with ads. Terrible.
Better than Peacock with ass.
Pardon?
You heard me.
Anyways, back to the show.
Yeah, back to the show. So now he's talking to Kevin and he's like, and did I get everything from your pockets? He's like, yeah. He's like, there's nothing else? He's like, and he pulls out like a Mars bar. He like wants to confiscate it.
I had a Mars bar on my shelf for years, right? Because like Mars bar is basically, it's in America, it's just a Milky Way. Like it's the exact same thing marketed here.
Isn't the Mars bar the one that has like a white filling?
No, Mars bar is just a Milky Way. It's just like nougat over chocolate.
I thought, Jay, I'm with you. I thought Mars were different than that.
It was almost like a white.
That's a mallow bar.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Joe's right.
Yeah, it's basically just Milky Way here, but it's such a big thing in like the UK and Northern Ireland that it's in so many songs that I had like a Mars bar that I bought at that store on Route 1 in Saugus. That was like the English import store that I had on my shelf forever, but I had it for like 10 years and like sun and time just withered it that it was so gross I had to throw it away when we moved. But I had one. You can buy them in America, but you just buy a Milky Way.
I feel like you guys are thinking of Sky bars with the white stuff inside.
Yeah.
No, I figured it out. You know what I was thinking of? It was the Zero bar that had like a white
Oh, right. Yeah.
exterior.
Mm. Now, do you guys eat your Mars bars backwards so you guys can feel the veins?
What?
It would be.
I don't even know where the joke is going.
Are you thinking of a Snickers?
Anyway,
It's a Snickers bar.
Gordo, don't you get sick of it at a certain point?
Do you see how happy he is right now? Do you think he does?
I like next week's episode where Gordo's just gone. It's like we decided to jettison Gordo. Gordo has moved to a strictly behind the scenes role of the podcast.
we cast him away on an iceberg.
With 2 Mars bars. We're like, figure it out, man.
Come to find out, this was not the only candy bar he had on him. And Kevin was also holding a Curly Whirly in his pocket, which I looked that up. And it was almost, did you guys look up Curly Whirlies?
I did, yeah. I didn't know this one. I knew Mars bar as well, but I did not know this
This
one.
is,
This is one of
like
those words that gets me angry at that side of the world.
It's a candy bar that's of that region, and it's almost like ladder shaped, and it's just chocolate over caramel. So
It looks like a long flat pretzel.
Oh, it looks neat. It almost looks like a pretzel.
Is it kind of like a cow's tail?
No, not at
There's
all.
nothing like cow's tail.
I love
no.
those.
I was under the impression, if I read it correctly, that it's just chocolate and caramel. So I don't know like how it holds its shape, but
But they like drizzle it to be like a lattice sort of shape.
Caramel can be solid, so maybe it's like that hard, solid caramel, like a Werther's. I cover it with that.
I thought that was a butterscotch.
Is it? I thought it was caramel.
I think Werther's is butterscotch, yeah.
Werther's is like
Oh,
in the
fuck me then.
butterscotch family, but it's something about it's creamier.
Yeah, it's a little butterier, which I wouldn't put on my delicious bread
Joe would never put a Werther's original on his bread.
until I'm 70, and then I will only put that on my bread.
I'd like to try one. I'm gonna find it.
There's a bunch of stores around here who like have those. Another good one too is Flake. Flake is a very good like Cadbury UK chocolate.
Oh, it's from the same company that makes Mars.
Cadbury makes Mars?
Apparently, I'm zooming in on the logo, but the description says Mars.
I thought like Mars was wasn't Mars attached like the M&M company? It was like M&M Mars or something. I thought they were all together.
It's split up since then. And also I feel like Cadbury chocolate is better than Hershey's chocolate. I don't know what it is about it, but it tastes better.
It comes out of a chicken bunny.
They still run that same commercial from when we were 6 years old.
The audition with all the different animals with bunny ears on.
They got their full worth out of that commercial, whoever paid for it.
If you achieve greatness, why change it? You know?
Yeah.
And we are only, a month away from Easter, so we're right there.
Well, we'll see it soon. I remember seeing it last year and being like, wow, that's still on.
As Raymond's going on with this candy bar situation, he discovers that he, in fact, has been pickpocketed as well in this transaction. He pulls out his pockets because he's like looking for his wallet. And then you just get one of the two going, oh, you're not going to do the elephant, are you?
This was my first, genuine, real lol at the episode. I laughed very hard at this.
It was a good callback, and it was good. It worked out story wise that it made sense, organically.
I will say, too, we'll talk about it later, but I think the writing of the episode is very good. They pay off everything. But I think from here, you just get so much of the credit card stuff, and they pay it off very well.
You cut to Kevin and Frank walking down the hallway together. Kevin's just kind of pissed. He's I can't believe it. You made me give him my curly whirly and, all this shit. He's saying, fancy rushing out before work to buy a present for the queen. Bet she never even gets them anyways. And then, as he's saying that, you can see that Patricia overheard all of that. So now she's aware of the situation, oh, he really did forget my anniversary. This gift that he's running out to get isn't even for me. It's supposed to be for the queen. So right from that scene is when we transition right over to, Grimm in his old apartment, and they're working on, all this stolen credit card stuff. And we see them all kind of working on their computers. They're doing everything, and this transitions into, is it a pizza order?
It starts as a pizza order, but I think it transitions into, a multi-takeout food order from there.
I didn't even really understand what was happening in the moment. But I think Grimm was almost reprimanding them all for doing a food order, and then somehow jumps in on it. But all he wants is cheesecake and a diet soda.
Which is weird because you wouldn't expect that from a takeaway pizza place.
You'd be surprised.
Sure, they could
Everyone has those little individual
I see
serving
cheesecake
desserts.
a lot at pizza places.
I will say though, I love being able to just order food online now. Be I want pepperoni, I want extra cheese, whatever, no weirdness of and what's the total? Remember asking what was the total when you used to have to call for food so you could have enough
on
tip?
the phone? Because by the way, and how much are you putting on my card, or how much cash do I need to hand you when the delivery?
Yeah, it
guy
wasn't
comes?
the card back then; it was cash, right? So it was how much do I have for a tip to give you?
I don't know. I miss speaking to a human sometimes. If I want my order weird, I don't trust that the computer's gonna get it right.
I prefer it for that reason if I'm ordering weird, because I want it written down, and I don't want anything getting lost in communication. Some of the ordering systems aren't detailed enough to do anything you want.
Yeah,
And
that's what I mean.
that's when I get conflicted, when it's oh shit. I always my wraps toasted or whatever, something silly, and you just can't enter it anywhere. You're oh, damn it. Now what do I do? Am I going to call because this one item on the whole list, I can't customize the way I want to?
Yeah, it makes it weird. I've had to do that before too. I'm hi, I'm calling. We had my parents over for dinner, and we ordered from a place that has really good gluten-free burgers. We had to call and be hey, so we made a order of mix of stuff, and they were like, we understand, it's fine, don't worry about it. And like, it was great. But like, I hated that I had to call to be like, just so you know, these ones aren't like this is like an allergy. This isn't like a weird thing. But like, had to get on the phone anyway. I was like, what the fuck is the point of this?
I just write it in the comments section.
Anyways, after that scene, it was kind of a quick scene. I really don't understand the point of it at all. It did not advance the story in the slightest bit.
There's a lot of very quick scenes from here on out.
We cut back to Kevin and Frank, and they're like in the locker room now. Kevin's like looking at Raymond's locker. He's just pissed because he had that Mars bar taken from him. Frank's like, are you really like that mad about the Mars bar? Like, it's not like the biggest thing. He's like, well, it wasn't for me. It was for her. He's like, who's her? The most beautiful, most gorgeous woman who ever walked the earth. He goes, you bought Gloria Honey a Mars bar? Gloria Honey, no idea who that is.
In all fairness, I'd be mad too. He pickpocketed him like as a example, but didn't give his stuff back.
Well, the thing was,
Yeah.
the wallet you can get back, the candy bar you weren't supposed to have.
Couple things here. First, it's Gloria Huntingford, who I looked up. This is one of those things where I said, like, I know a lot about English culture. I had no idea who this was. This is just like a TV presenter.
Oh, I heard the name wrong. That makes sense.
And she was an older woman too, so like maybe that was the joke because she was like born in the 30s. So that him saying she was beautiful was maybe the joke because she had been like 16.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't quite understand the joke of like you could still have a candy bar and your nightstick in the same thing. Like they keep bringing that up, and you're like, you'd have to replace one or the other. Like you could slide one in with the other.
No, don't get squished.
Who cares?
The whirly twirly bar or whatever is very flat.
And this is also us finding out that the actual person that he wants to give the candy bar to was Maggie, who apparently he has a thing for and hasn't, let her know that yet. And he saw her eat a Mars bar once, so just figures that she's really big on them. And Frank's like, I saw her eat like a sausage, egg, and cheese before. So what are you going to do with that information?
I think it's kind of sweet though. Like if you see somebody doing something once and you don't have much, I mean, he should know more about her than that because they work together every day, but
I don't know this term, but doesn't mean like you'll get your leg over, which I assume, is
that's
fucking,
sex, yeah.
So Frank's telling him like, hey, she doesn't want a kind of guy who's going to give her chocolates. Like she wants like a guy who's going to be firm with her. Just like with my wife, like I would tell her like, hey, when I get home, I expect dinner on the table. He's like, that work? Like she took note, like, what did she do? He's like, oh, I don't know. I never saw her again.
That would not work.
It's an easy joke, but it makes sense, right? Like, don't listen to this guy.
And then you cut to Raymond, who's sitting at his desk across from Maggie, and he just got off the phone. He's trying to like report his lost credit card. And it's like, what's the point of like these like speedy hotlines if whenever you ring them, they're busy? So, I mean, I guess we're kind of seeing like the importance of, all this automated computer stuff as, these cases are increasing.
And this relates to now, like, you ever get the wrong thing on Amazon or whatever, and you go in the chat and they're like, can't help you. And you're like, you fucking should help me. I ordered a fucking book and you sent me salt. This is not my fault. And they're like, well, can you send it back?
That happened
Fuck
to you?
This is my
that
free salt
happened?
now.
No, I've had a lot of good experiences with Amazon's customer service. They always are very
The
apologetic.
problem is like if things happen to you too often, they like deem you like they think you're like a scammer or problematic. It's like, no, it's not my fault that I had like multiple items stolen from my house. Like that doesn't make me like an unworthy patron.
The thing I don't like is I bought a record once and it was this just sent the wrong record. I was like, can you send me the right one? They were like, yeah, as soon as you send the old one back. Like, that's not my fault. Like, I don't want this record. I don't want the Blind
Yeah.
Boys of Alabama's live album. That's not something I would like to keep for
That's
myself.
where my album went.
Yeah, I got Jay's Blind Boys of Alabama album.
And so Patricia walks over to Raymond's desk. She's like, Raymond, have you bought a birthday present for the Queen? Because she had overheard earlier. It's like, yes, is there a problem? And then she goes, when did you last buy me a present? He's like, I don't know, like probably your last birthday. And so she's like, she's pissed now because now it's all coming together that this whole time she was convinced that he was going to surprise her or at least acknowledge the fact that it was their anniversary and didn't. So now they get into like an argument and they get into this argument about like reading the newspaper versus just reading books, which I didn't quite understand like the reasoning behind that. But in his mind, reading books is better for your brain, makes you a smarter person.
These are specific books, though. These are the Biggles books, which are like,
Yeah.
imagine Sherlock Holmes mixed with the Hardy Boys in like pre-World War II.
Jeff and Matt.
Yeah, the good Hardy Boys. I don't think these Biggles were just
Wonderful.
pounding fucking oxys like the modern Hardy Boys do.
Just Jeff.
So yeah, so she calls them out on like reading like those books and runs out.
Are they children's books?
They're like young adult books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like adventure books. They're like, this guy is dealing with the war. You like read them when you're like
the
12.
Boxcar Boys.
Yeah, like the Boxcar Boys.
Literally, like the next thing we hear is Maggie being like, "Is that true? You read the Biggles?" So that's what my little brother's reading at the moment. And then like she gets into this whole bit where she's like applauding them because like, how great is it that this book exists? Teaches like about like loyalty, courage, humor, and gay love. And he goes, "I beg your pardon?" Like, of course, it's like Biggles and Ginger, they're lovers. It's like so obvious. And she's going over all this stuff and thinking how it's like this great way to like put a positive image on homosexual partnership. And now he's all like uppity about it. He's like, no, that's not what those books are about. He's like, they're comrades.
This is some of his best work in the whole episode. When he says beg your pardon, from there on, you're like, oh, he's just killing it in this moment.
But this compares to everybody thinking Bert and Ernie's gay because they live together. And
Didn't they recently like flip it and say that they're gay now?
I thought
no,
they did
that was just one of the online memes that.
Oh, I thought like they came out and they were like, oh no, they're like, they are gay now. That
No.
didn't happen. I thought they officially made them gay.
I could be wrong. I don't think so.
I will say my daughter very much identified with Bert for like a week, and I bought a Bert like big plushie, and then she immediately switched to the Count, and it's gone to Elmo now, and I've spent so much money on Sesame Street fucking toys in the past month, and every week she's like, I like this one now. They must make so much fucking money off that shit. It's insane.
It's exactly how they make money. Yeah.
Yep.
I did, again, I did an AI search on this one like Gordo did. I used the Copilot, and I asked, hey, are Biggles and Ginger gay? Turns out they're not. They're just buddies.
They're like the James Bond books too, where like even though Ian Fleming has been dead for a long time, like new people take the mantle up. So like there was like a Biggles book from like last year. Like they're still going.
Good for them.
I like how Raymond's so upset. Not so much about like just the gay thing, but just sexualizing the books in general. Like, because he makes it pretty clear, like, even if they were straight, like, you know, you don't do that with these books.
I will say I got a genuine laugh when she was like comparing them to Sherlock Holmes and Watson, and she says they chat, they smoke their pipes. Smoke their pipes like popped me. I don't know why. Like, I don't even know if they thought they were trying to be sexual with that joke, but it made me laugh very hard.
What do you think they do in between cases?
And also, my favorite thing about the whole episode is just, like I mentioned earlier, like, they solve cases and they kill Germans. Like, I love that they'll never let it go. It's so fucking great.
He's so, like, worked up about it that, like, he has to, like, exit. He can't talk about his favorite book characters being in, you know, same sex. I think relationships in general, he just doesn't want, according to him, I'll take his word for it. He doesn't want to sexualize these characters in general. And he does seem like the guy who might legitimately mean that. And he, when he walks off, he goes to the other side where all that credit card shit's going on and trying to get them to, like, you know, donate to the Queen's birthday present fund that he has going on.
I hate that shit though. This was his idea. Don't beg people to chip in because you decided to do that. That's like that charity shaming shit.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate too that at least it's like $3 a person. At least he's not like,
Yeah.
it's $100 a person for the Queen. Like, you would just give your boss $3 to be like, fine, whatever.
No, just be the leader and buy it for your people. Don't ask them to pay.
I agree. Yeah, I might as well just do it. Be like, this is on behalf of the whole team.
Yeah. What is he? He's planning to make what? Another $15, $18?
Like, how much did this figurine cost?
You spent $20 on this. It's apparent. Just cover it yourself. You get paid more than we do, anyways.
That's up to the boss, right? Where it's like, you make more than all of them.
Yeah.
So now we cut to Frank and Kevin, and they're talking somewhere else in the building. Frank seems to be giving Kevin like a little bit of a pep talk. He's like, all right, remember, like, be firm, be masterful. And he's like, so, you know, just be myself. He's like, oh, no. And then it cuts and you see like Kevin and Maggie walking outside together. So like, I guess they were just put on an assignment, but
Like, on patrol.
Yeah, they're on patrol.
Yeah, they're just on the beat.
This run kills me at this part.
when he tries to like stop the jaywalker,
Yeah, and he's trying to be masculine. He's just-
Get back on the sidewalk.
Just tackles a nice man.
You hit my plums, Grandma.
yeah, Kevin, yeah, he runs and he sprints and he thinks he finds a pickpocket. So he like tackles him down and you see him like It was just this dude trying to help his grandma out.
In all fairness, of all the misunderstandings, that's the most understandable one. There is a pickpocketer going
Yeah.
around, and he looks like he's pickpocketing him.
Yeah, sure.
And she's like a helpless old lady.
The one later, not so much.
And then, like, after all that, they walk back into the station. It's like, that's the worst beat I've ever been on. It was like being on patrol with a flippin' 2-year-old. So now, here he is trying to be all masculine and being a little bit more manly. As a result, makes a complete idiot of himself, causes a giant mess, and now she doesn't want to work with him anymore.
I feel like it's a better situation, though, that, like, English poppies don't carry guns. Like, this could have been so much more dark in a different country.
They got their hitty sticks. Oi, 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 oi.
Hitty
They're
sticks.
copy cops.
They're whirly twirlies.
They're truncheons. Truncheon is another word I know from, like, 8,000 punk songs. It's like I had to, like, Google that when Google existed. I was like, what's a truncheon?
You say when Google existed? Google still exists.
No, I mean, like, I didn't know what it was as a kid.
Oh.
And then, like, Google happened, and I was like, what are they talking about?
Did you ask Jeeves?
That actually probably was Jeeves at the time, yeah.
I was looking on Dogpile.
A truncheon, sir, is a stick a cop hits somebody with. Like, thanks, Jeeves. You're so nice to me.
Did Google absorb just like all those other search engines, or did they just go out of business?
Somebody probably, I mean, I think like in the Office Space sort of internet wars, somebody probably bought Ask Jeeves, right?
I assume so. That's what they should have named their AI. It's Jeeves.
If they own it. Whoever owns it probably has that locked in.
But can Jeeves draw a hand with 5 fingers? We'll see.
Ask him.
Interactive Corp, IAC, bought Ask Jeeves in 2005 for $1.85 billion.
That is maybe the worst,
The
purchase
biggest
of all
overpay
time.
ever.
That might beat Justin Timberlake buying MySpace as like the worst internet purchase ever existing.
After Kevin and Maggie walk back in and she's upset about how this day's been going, she goes straight over to Patricia's desk and she's like, you know what? That's it. I'm wasting my time. Like, I'm going to pack it in. I'm leaving the force. And then Raymond walks out and goes, I just had a call from the fire brigade and a man's threatening suicide from the ledge of a tall building. He's like, I have to go attend that scene. Says, hey, to Maggie, like, I might require a woman with me. Like, would you come with me? And she agrees, even though she just quit. And you cut to Kevin in the locker room talking to Robert, Robert was like that second in command guy, the detective dude.
The unibrow.
Yeah. He's like, well, I guess she probably hates me now. Like, he's like, yeah. He's like, that didn't really work out, huh? It was something she said. She said, I hate you, Kevin. I think you're planet. What's planet?
That's a planet, like Mars, Jupiter.
I think you're a planet. I don't think
planet was the word, but I don't know this one.
He said, listen, like, you're going to get her like champagne and chocolates, something like that.
I think he calls it the drawers dropper and the knickers stripper.
The knicker stripper. Ferg, you want to say that 5 times fast?
I was saying it and I was like, don't say it wrong, don't say it wrong, don't say it wrong.
You want me to try? No, I don't want to get canceled.
Now we cut to Raymond, who's talking to the guy who, the potential suicide case, and the guy standing on the ledge. And this is the guy who got robbed. So, now we're coming full circle with that. This has really fucked his day up, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder at this point how much of it was the robbery or like how much was this the last straw? Like, was this dude like already on edge and like this is it? Because I'd hate to think that just being robbed would put you at this point.
You never know. Depends on what's stolen.
He keeps saying it. Nobody cares about him. Nobody cares about him. It's nothing. I don't think it's the robbery. It's the lack of compassion from humanity.
But the robbery is definitely the last straw. I imagine there's more to it, right? Like maybe his wife left him. Maybe he lost all his money in the stock market. Like I'm sure it was like a building issue.
Maybe his nailed-on tail blew away. Your joke? No?
Because, yeah, even when like Raymond's asking him like, hey, like you want to step off that ledge now? It's like, oh, now you care about me. It's like, now, like, no one respects me. No one cares about me. He's like, I'm nothing. I'm friendless. I'm alone. And then he replies with, the same thing could be said about the prime minister. And he leads a full and active life.
This is also, I would say, one of the like least famous prime ministers as far as like on our side of the pond. You know what I mean? Like everybody knew Margaret Thatcher. We all knew Tony Blair. But this is a guy who was just like prime minister for a bunch of years, and like nothing really translated here.
Who was it?
John Major,
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, with a name like that, he should have been well known.
right?
That's a powerful last name.
But again,
That's
though,
a
like
major last name.
Tony Blair got talked about a lot, and like Margaret Thatcher had like a billion songs written about her, and like
Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold night.
yeah, right, yeah, like you know
Yeah.
who Maggie is, but like John Major, you're like, I don't fucking know who that guy is. Like,
But is he a major dad?
I wish he was a major dad.
So, anyways, Maggie walks up now and she's trying to talk to this guy. She's like, hey, remember me? Tells him, you say no one cares about you. And like, that's a lie. I actually decided to leave the police today. And that's because of you. We weren't able to help you. He's like, is this true? And then Raymond's like, wait, is this true? Like, it was true. But I can see how that would just be running away, just like you're running away right now. So, that's not the right way to go about stuff. She's telling him, like, they might have taken all this stuff from you, but they can't take your spirit.
I like Rowan Atkinson's button on this that's like, oh, that's the best speech I've ever heard. Now get in here.
Yeah. And then after that, you just cut to the two of them walking back into work and him telling her, like, oh, I was extremely proud of you today. It wasn't your fault. He still jumped anyways.
The silly fool still jumped. I love the darkness of that guy still fucking killed himself after that speech.
This was actually the first and only time I laughed at this episode.
Yeah.
Joke really caught me off guard and got me.
Grim and that dude Robert walk over, go up to Raymond, like, hey, you're under arrest. It's like, beg your pardon? He's like, a credit card belonging to you has been used to hire a car, which was subsequently deployed in a drug deal. And he's like, I was pickpocketed and my credit cards were stolen. They're kind of going over this whole thing about it. And like, well, it's been 8 hours and you still haven't reported it.
I like the writing here, though, that he tried to report it twice.
He's like, I've been trying.
Yeah, and they're not speedy.
So I like when Patricia's trying to talk now to Maggie, go, hey, just so you know, like, there's been another burglary. They go to like talk to the detective about it. It's like, hey, we got to let you know something. He's like, don't bother. I don't bother with burglaries. Like, get the uniform guys. And he walks off and she's like, okay. And he goes, hey, Constable Habib, Inspector Grimm's house has been burglared. And you just see like him run by and like, he's yelling something as he ran by and then kind of
He's like,
realized
go,
that he
go,
fucked
go,
up.
go, go.
So when he runs out because he thinks his house is being robbed, you have like Maggie saying like, I wonder if he'll lose his self-esteem and try to kill himself. And she's like, he will when he realizes it was a hoax. And then at this point, Raymond's there too, and he's trying to talk to Patricia, and she's like really pissed off at him, and she's been kind of harboring all this shit all day. And she finally breaks down. She's like, this was the 10th anniversary of our relationship, and you didn't get me anything. And then like he's like, oh shit. And was it like Maggie who's at this time like basically saying like, well, I don't know why you'd want like any of these store presents anyways. Like personally, I hate like the way guys think, and they just think that like, if they just get you some like chocolates and a bottle of champagne. And now meanwhile, you have Kevin who's standing there with chocolate and champagne that he was about to give Maggie and is acknowledging that now this is not something that she's going to want.
Did I hear them correctly? Were they saying Chalkies? For the
Chalkies,
chocolates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So now he's kind of in this shit like, shit, this stuff's right behind my back and I was about to give it to her. She's talking shit about this specific thing.
This is another great scene of just Rowan face acting.
Yeah.
This is like eyeball acting.
What he does, man. Mr. Bean is
Yeah.
all physical.
And she's saying like, like maybe for like an anniversary, but like any bloke who thought he could buy my affections like that, I would punch in the mouth.
I like how they're looking at each other, giving each other the Iggy, and Rowan Atkinson like basically makes Kevin, right?
Yeah.
Give him the chocolate and the champagne to give to Patrice.
It's a perfect situation because now he's holding this chocolate and champagne, and if he tries to give this to Maggie, she's gonna punch him. Meanwhile, Raymond's wife wants to punch him for not getting anything for the anniversary, so he's trying to communicate like what give that look like, but this is really awkward. Like they really extend out that scene and make it really odd when they're trying to give each other like nonverbal communication signals.
Yeah, and that's because he's too dumb to function and doesn't pick up on his signals.
But that could be both of them being dumb. You know what I mean? Like,
But
so
he still doesn't get it when he says, "Oh, here's the stuff I got for you." He still says no.
No, because of the reveal at the end, like that's happening. Like it's not even a reveal; it happens right now when he does give Rowan Atkinson the champagne and chalkies, and he gives it to Patrice, and then she reads the note or the card that's on the champagne that says to Maggie.
That doesn't change the fact that he doesn't pick up on that this is the perfect situation. She doesn't want it and he needs it.
Yeah, like Rowan has to give him the up and down slow nod.
Yeah, but
There's no yeah, but he doesn't understand.
Kevin also fucks up though. Like, you don't need a card in that situation if you're handing
yeah, you're there.
directly. You know what I mean? Like, he could have got himself out of this. Yeah.
The move is take the card off, give the
Yes.
stuff, and then give the card to her. She reads
Yeah.
the card. Oh, this is sweet and from the heart. He has the presents, which is what she wants. Everybody's happy.
Except for the fact that the card says, "Do you want to fuck?"
Well, that was the thing. So she goes to read the card, and it straight up says, "To darling Maggie, sorry about arresting the lollipop man. Any chance of a bunk up? Love, Kevin." I love how he's been pining for this girl
He's
for
such
this
an
long,
idiot.
and then like he finally writes a letter to be like, "Hey, I like you," and just like, "Hey, do you want to fuck?"
And surprisingly, goes as well as that would go in real life.
Yeah, they both get hit.
I lolled very hard at the double slap. I also think too, like, the best line of the entire episode is, "Do you think we got away with it?" After they both get slapped. Like, that's the fucking
Yeah.
best way to end the episode.
Which is what ends the episode, and then you just get to the credits, which is just basically like the intro was them getting ready for this group photo, and this is essentially just looking at a bunch of outtakes of that same photo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the entirety of the episode, and I highly doubt that you guys have much else to say on the matter as far as like notes, because they're just, I don't know, I read as much as I could, and I just couldn't find as much info as I thought there'd be.
Not a ton. I mean, there's only 2 seasons, and it's not the most famous thing that Rowan was in. And then most of the people just are like, kind of character actors are in a ton of British stuff. A lot of Doctor Who.
I think in my head, I have Rowan Atkinson built up as a larger than life celebrity.
I think it's because he was big when we were a kid.
No, I think he's a larger than life celebrity. I mean, he's a humongous star.
He is. If you dropped him anywhere in the world, people go, Mr. Bean, and be excited because he's got that recognizable face and everyone knows who Mr. Bean is.
I saw an Instagram reel the other day of like a bar in like Thailand or something that was all like Mr. Bean themed.
I've seen that too.
I have seen that.
I would love to go there. Also, I mean, he's done so much stuff, right? Like, all of these shows aren't as big here, but like Bean is huge, Blackadder is huge, this is big. He's done so much. He's in a James Bond movie. I mean, like, that's like the quintessential thing.
I think that's like probably like here he's famous primarily as Mr. Bean, though. There, like Rowan Atkinson is famous.
Yeah, he's a humongous
Yeah.
star. My favorite thing that I did not know about him that I found when I was researching this show is that he was flying on vacation on a private plane, and the pilot passed out. And Rowan Atkinson flew the plane and kept it up so no one died until the pilot woke up again and then landed. Fucking hero. That's insane. I would have just crashed the plane into a mountain. Good for you, Rowan.
You think he did that drum solo thing while he was...
Do you think he was like, I saw people pass out randomly when I was doing Rat Race. I know that eventually he'll wake right back up again. It will be okay, so I just gotta hold it steady for a minute.
Don't forget his biggest role, Zazu from The Lion King.
Yeah, I just rewatched The Lion King.
With all that in mind, I think we might as well round this one up. We've been talking for a while about a show that most of you probably have never watched. Joe, we'll start with you.
I mean, I love British comedies. I love Rowan Atkinson. I love workplace comedies. And weirdly, I love fictionalized cop everything. Currently, every Sunday, I watch a movie with my daughter, and we're 2/5 of the way through all the Dirty Harrys. So I don't know what that's going to lead to later on in life, but that's an interest of mine. I loved this. There were some parts that I would cut out for sure. Some of this dialogue dragged, and I don't think a show should ever be 29 minutes, but I did enjoy this. They paid off every joke that they started at the end. And I laughed a good amount of times. It's a green light for me.
Ferg.
Yeah, sorry, British people. I love most of your stuff. This one just wasn't it. I didn't think it was funny. I laughed. Like I said, the suicide joke got me, and then that was it. Rowan Atkinson is hilarious. Like Joe, I love cop shows, and this show had everything that I love in it, and it's just nothing worked. So unfortunately, I have to give that a cancel.
Yeah, it's a cancel for me too, and it's one of those. I know, like for you guys, you always think I hate every piece of foreign television out there, but I don't. But this one just didn't really work for me. It just there was no point where I was like laughing. Like it was all like it was humorous enough, I guess, but it was like felt very muted, and it just didn't do anything for me. So I gotta give it the cancel. Nick.
Yeah, I didn't hate the episode. As stated, Rowan Atkinson is great. He's great in this too. I think the rest of the cast is even not that bad. Couple characters I wasn't a big fan of. Story's entertaining. There's just I don't know. I have no desire to see another episode, regardless of how much I enjoyed this one. I don't really know how to explain why I don't like this. It's just like Jay said. I think muted is a good way to describe it. There's no there's substance to it. I was going to say there's no substance, but there's substance to it. It's just not a substance I'm interested in. I guess it's the short way around it. So, yeah, it's a cancel for me.
Grotto.
I'm going to go the opposite of you, Nick. I enjoyed this show, and I would watch a second episode. I came around to the characters. I want to see how they develop. I want to see what other shenanigans they get into. I hope that it's not all 29 minutes, but yeah, green light for me.
So even with that, I'm sorry to the Thin Blue Line. That's only 2 out of 5. So you are canceled with us. You do not live to see another day. I want to thank everybody who listened, everyone. Again, S1E1pod.com is where you can find all the links to all our stuff. Buy a t-shirt, rate, review, do all those things. Just hit us up in general. We love getting DMs from you guys and talking to you, finding out how you guys found out about us and all that stuff. Any shows you want to suggest, we're definitely all ears. Like to find stuff that we may not have thought of. There's so much stuff out there, and we're always like scavenging around trying to find interesting shows to cover. So with all that in mind, thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next week with another new episode. Thank you. Goodbye.
I think we got the best Gordo saying the Iggy.
Iggy.